Sir Ilin, bring me his head.
Hello everyone, Skippy here, and welcome to One Piece episode 995, directed by Satoshi Ito and supervised by Shigefumi Shingaki. With an absurdly solid looking preview right off the heels of 994, it definitely seems like co-series director Satoshi Ito is going all in when it comes to executing this content as well as he can by peppering this episode with so much cool direction and photography on top of what looks like pretty damn solid animation in its own right and honestly surprisingly solid art from Shingaki as well. With the promise of so much simply based off the small 30 seconds of it that we saw, will episode 995 truly deliver on this massively important story content and in a big way at that? Let's get ready to snatch and find out. This episode covers the remainder of chapter 986, and aside from rearranging Yamato getting their handcuffs taken off so it coincides with them getting blown into the live floor, which helps add some small filler interactions between them and Queen, the flow of the manga chapter stays pretty much the same with a few minor tweaks and additions here and there, like Robin and Hyogoro making a move towards Momo and Marco fighting Perospero on the sea. And as a result, the episode feels tightly paced and wounded all in all and never really feels like it's slowly inching its way closer, allowing the perfect amount of time for the emotional moments that are supposed to resonate with the audience to settle in and make their mark on them through thoughtful and sometimes new OST selections from Ito that makes Momo's declaration of his name really stand out as powerful as well as the SUNACCHI moment, and whenever a flashback is necessary because of the story or what was in the manga, it doesn't stick around too long and serves an actual narrative and symbolic purpose for what's being shown on screen. Combined together, it makes for a bombastic showcase for this really important chapter for this arc, and when considering the storyboard as well, it also takes its chances with expanding on the source material in very big ways. While the close-ups may make some feel claustrophobic, it's really the majority of Ito's board that helps this episode become what it really is. With amazing usage of colors, specifically blues and yellows, and a lot of dynamic and interestingly composed compositions that help even the smaller scenes fully stand out, you can tell in so many ways that Ito truly gave a damn about this content and how it was portrayed, and it shows greatly all throughout. With so much attention to detail, the lighting of any area, and the few instances of lens flares that help add depth behind Asahi's already in place base compositing, all leading up to the big finale of the episode that is about as ambitious as they come in regards to quite literally boarding the interior of the castle and hallways as well as the balcony later on that presents a worthy challenge to the animation staff, which then all culminates with a lovely piece of symbolism with connecting Odin's will to the scabbards as Kaido sees him attacking as he begins to feel the wound he got from him many years ago. It all works in tandem with the immensely powerful feeling that Ito put in place with the adaptation and gives this episode a worthy guideline to work off of. And while maybe it could have felt a bit more roomy in smaller places, I can't say I'm disappointed one single bit. For once, I actually have to give it to Shingaki here, as he absolutely nailed the art in places that I usually see him flounder with. His art still does harbor a bit of a groggy and weirdly highlight-heavy look at times that still isn't 100% for me, but it does right by the episode all the same and is polished very well. And with the assistance of both Chu Young-se and Masahiro Kitazaki on the supervision side of things, it's no wonder that it ended up being the case. However, for an episode like this, I must say that even I was shocked by just how far they went with the smaller scenes, like Junwen Tan's short but impactful scene with Marco and Perospero, and even the rest of the big moments here that simply just exceeded my expectations. Kicking off with a familiar face but one that's making his One Piece in-house staff debut in form of Henry Thurlow, whose several different layers of shading may not be for everyone, but it's really the way that the characters move in tandem with the background animation that is truly the highlight of his work here. Staying surprisingly consistent all throughout despite the extremely difficult patterns on the characters' clothes and lines in the floorboards, that overall makes it one hell of a solid debut debut for Thurlow on the Toei team after joining back in July. And immediately after that, and following some brief but more than competent scenes from both regular Masahiro Kitazaki and foreign animator Van Oba, it's Chu Young-seo that kicks into high gear with a somewhat lengthy scene of the Scabbards preparing to and eventually attacking Kaido, that once again has another insanely well done and consistent bit of background animation with the floor of the balcony, that all culminates in some sweet and visceral art from Chu that shows off his bold line work as the blow is dealt to Kaido and the episode begins to wrap up. Once again being an absolute achievement when dealing with designs like Oda's and rounding off 995 all snugly to make a fantastic episode. I will mince no words here and call it Ito's best One Piece episode as well as his best episode in this arc with the utmost confidence. Despite being a series director and having an enormous workload with that, he still managed to pull out all the stops and really challenge himself to produce something that this moment truly deserves and then some. And just as an experience, it was one that was absurdly ambitious for what it was, and one that I'll really never forget for that reason, ever. And when the episode that we'll be greeted with right after this week break in form of episode 996 looks a hell of a lot better than I expected, I'm ready for this train to keep on going. With Yutaka Nakashima looking like he's pulling out a lot of different stops as well to get this episode looking as bombastic and vibrant as can be, which perfectly lines up with what looks like Kazuya Hisada's best corrections and animation in the series to date with his loose but angular style, I'm a bit sad we're heading into the small break because I'm already chomping at the bit to see the final product. Anyways guys, that's it for now. I'm Skippy, and yup, Shingaki is carrying on Shimanuki's will from last week.